So this is it right here. This is the Ultimea Skywave X100. This is not the dual, this is just a singular. So by that I mean a singular subwoofer. With the dual, you will get two of these massive, incredible subwoofers. But for me right now, for my lifestyle, one is way more than enough. So let me dive into what we have. But before I dive into what we have, I'm going to dive into what I'm not showing you on this table. So in the packaging, you get a HDMI cable, you get a optical cable, you get a power supply for each and all of these particular speakers. So this soundbar has its own power supply. Each of these speakers has their own power supply, and the subwoofer has its own power supply. So you have 6 power supplies that actually come with it. You get a remote control that also comes with an app. So there's an app that you could actually download. It's the Ultimea app that allows you to control way more features than the remote. This remote gives you a lot of control, but the app gives you a lot more control. We'll dive into that later. So I'm going to start by talking to you about, you know what? Let's start with the remote. So this is the remote, as I said. So on the remote, you have your power, Bluetooth, your source, volume up, volume down, pause and play, bass up, bass down. You have your equalizer right over here. You have your up mix, so that would up-tune the audio based on the source that you have coming in. You have your surround sound levels, which means for all of the surround sound speakers, you could lower and raise the volume if you want. So the surround sound speakers are the ones that are aiming towards you, not the upward firing. You have upward firing control, so which means that you could actually raise and lower the volume of the upward firing speakers. You get way more control in the app, but the remote gives you the overall control of the upward firing speakers, and you even have your mute button right over here. What's super cool about this is once the remote is connected, you can see right here you have a screen that tells you what you are doing as you actually press it. So let's say if I press upward firing and I don't know what level it is on, the screen will tell me upward firing is now at -100 or -200, whatever the case might be, is right. So the screen is a real cool addition to the actual overall use case of this particular soundbar. Speaking about the soundbar, this is a soundbar here. As you can see, it has a real nice rose gold look to it. Your touch controls on top are all rose gold. So you have power, source, Bluetooth, volume up, volume down. You have your 2 upward firing speakers, one here and one over here. You have 5 speakers in front. So these 5 speakers are part of the 9 in the 9.1.6. So you have 5 speakers here, and when you include 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 speakers in addition to the 5 speakers here give you your 9 in the 0.9. The 0.1 is the subwoofer, and the 0.6 are these upward firing speakers. So you have 6 upward firing speakers. That's how you get your 9.1.6. So the soundbar, as you can see, it looks like one huge element. It's actually pretty long. It's actually wider than my table right now. But what's super cool about this, Ultimea decided for packaging purposes to break this up into 3 elements. So this is your left, center, right of the soundbar. And if you look at the back of it, you could see on the back side now you have all of your inputs. So you have your place for you to plug it in right over here. You have your USB-A port. So let's say if you have a USB-A stick that has music or movies, you can simply plug it in right here, I believe. You have your optical cable. So if you decide to use optical, you could use optical, or you could use Bluetooth. You have 2 HDMI ports. So let's say if you want to stream from your Apple TV or from whatever media device, you could plug your media device directly into the soundbar, and then you have a HDMI out that goes back to your TV. So how I would actually be using this would be from my Apple TV to my HDMI in, and then from my soundbar to my TV via my HDMI out. This is a locking mechanism that you would use to connect, so you simply just have to align it. I sometimes get this wrong a little bit because I'm a little bit blind, but this time I got it right. So you simply align the different grooves. Let me try and get this right here. And once you get it aligned, turn and twist, and it locks into place simply and easily, just like that. That's the soundbar right over here. It also has a nice Ultimea branding in front. Very easy to use, very easy to configure, very simple. Comes with everything, very straightforward. So that's the soundbar and that's the remote. Let's talk surround sound speakers. So you get 4 of these surround sound speakers, and you would think, oh, it's just 4 of the same. Technically they are the same, but they all have different locations that they are supposed to be placed into. So when you look at the back of it, it tells you where each speaker goes. Left rear surround sound speaker. So this would be the one that sits behind you on the left rear. Left side surround sound speaker. This would be the one that sits on your side. Right rear side surround sound speaker. Right rear side. Right rear surround sound speaker would be the one that sits behind you. So that's where each speaker would be located. As I said, this has both a front firing speaker and an upward firing speaker. The power supply plugs in on the base, making it very easy to plug in. You could even hook this up easily to a stand if you wanted to. These are all wireless speakers, so there's no wire that runs back to the main soundbar. Each of these are wireless speakers, so you don't have to actually run a hard wire back to the main soundbar. The subwoofer is also wireless, so you can put the subwoofer wherever you want to get that nice wireless experience. The app gives you full control of all of the surround sound and also the upward firing speaker. So let's say if this speaker is too close to your ear, you could lower the volume of the surround sound coming out of this particular speaker. Let's say if the upward firing is not loud enough, you could raise the volume of the upward firing so you could hear the upward firing from this particular speaker if you wanted to. So all of these surround sound speakers, you have full control of both the upward firing and the forward sounding audio. And even this, you have full control of the upward firing and also the forward surround sound audio. So I just wanted to give you that before I dive in. Let me hook this up and then also download the app and show you guys what and how this works and how this actually sounds like. Alright, so before we dive in, let me show you how I have this set up. I have my left side surround on this side. I have my left rear surround sound over here. I have my right rear surround sound over here. And my right side surround over here. So when I sit and I look at the TV, I could see the surround sound bar in front. And I have this surround sound, well, the subwoofer over here. So this is my POV whenever I am looking at the TV, obviously. My surround sound speakers to my side. Oh yeah, I also have these side surround sounds on a stand. I would do a video at some point in time speaking about the stand and how cool this actual stand is. But for right now, we focus in on the Ultimea Skywave X100. So let's dive on in. Here it is right here. This is what you get when you get the Ultimea package. You don't get my iPad. Trust me. I wish I could give you an iPad, but you don't get the iPad. What you do get is this booklet right here, which has your user manual. Very straightforward, very easy to understand. I explained most of the stuff in the earlier part of the video. As I said earlier too, you do get a wall mount guide that shows you if you want a wall mounted, how to do it. And what's super cool about this, on the back part of it, it has a template if you want to align your screws and your holes correctly. It shows exactly where to put them if you decide to wall mount it. As you can see, I did not wall mount mine. I put it right below my TV, but it still works pretty fine if you decide to wall mount or not. Inside the box, this is where you would actually find your plugs for all of the different devices, and also your plugs for the subwoofer and also for the soundbar itself. This right here is the Ultimea app for the Skywave. This gives you full control for your volume, If you want, you have two options to adjust the volume. You have a slider and you also have a plus or minus. You have your power button here if you want to turn the device on and off. If you want to adjust your or select your input, you have eARC, HDMI optical or Bluetooth. For your EQ, you have full EQ controls right here. You have under your audio settings, you have if you want to turn up mix on or off or enable DTS. For me, I normally run in default cinema with up mix on. If you don't want to use that, you could simply choose whichever one you want. You have customizable features. I normally run, if I do a customizable EQ, I do either a U shape or a V shape. You also have THX. I find for me, default cinema up mix on is perfect. If you want, you could even adjust your song balance. So this is called a song stage song balance, which allows you to choose how the speakers actually play or the volume of which the actual speakers play. In overall, you have overall controls for your surround sound, and you also have overall controls for your up firing. If you want to increase or decrease the volume for up firing, you have that. If you want to increase or decrease the volume for your surround sound, you have that. But what's super cool about this, you also have independent controls if you want to increase or lower the volume for the surround sound individually. So you could choose, let's say if I find the left center surround sound is too loud, I could come right here and increase or decrease the volume of the surround sound aiming towards me, or I can increase or decrease the volume of the upward firing speaker. That to me is game changing. That to me is technology. That to me is advanced. That to me is super cool. There's a feature called Auracast. I haven't really dived into that too much. I have to figure this out a little bit to understand what that looks like, but I do believe this will allow me to pair to other Ultimea products that do have the Auracast feature built in. If you come here to the settings or to the gearing, so if you come here and you slide down, you have a little bit more controls if you want. You could change your prompt sound level, your auto standby level, your auto screen off level, and your display, like your display brightness level. This to me makes this app super cool, super intuitive, and in conjunction with the remote control that gives you all of the controls that I just mentioned, this makes it a real great overall product. As I said, like the remote control is backlit, so when you adjust, let's say if your bass, you could see bass going up or down. If you adjust your volume going up or down, you could see that simply and easily. Speaking about volume, let's dive into this right here. And let me give you a taste of how crazy this volume sounds. This is a video from my second channel. The volume right now is at 6. I'm gonna take the volume up to 20. Tell me what you think about this volume. Let me sit in the middle so you can hear what that sounds like. You gotta admit, that's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. This system from Ultimea has just changed the game when it comes to audio for me. This right here is what a good home audio system. That's, I don't want to call it budget, but I don't want to call it not budget, because it's very affordable if you can afford the price tag for it. But for what you pay for what you get a lot. Ultimea definitely stepped it up from what I had before. I had the A50 Pro, I had the A40, and I had the Ultimea Solo Pro, I think it's called. This right here is a whole new level with a subwoofer in the corner, with a soundbar over here. I do have my my left and my right center speakers on a stand. So if you could see the stand right there, you could see it sitting on a stand, and I have the back one sitting behind the chair. I mean, when it comes to movie night, I'm gonna have a blast with this system. So let's listen to this right here. know what I'll do? I'm gonna find a movie. I'll play a little scene from a movie real quick. If this piece gets clipped or if this piece gets copyrighted, I might probably have to delete this. But I'm just gonna leave this piece in at the end and tell me what you think about this audio. You gotta admit, from what I show you so far, this overall system is pretty dope. This right here is gonna solidify it for you. You gotta admit, that's pretty dope, right? Until next time, see you guys.